Welcome to Can I Have the Recipe? When you come to Can I Have the recipe you're going to get is the one that the friend of a friend of a friend gave us, the one that we've worked on over the years. Imagine going to somebody's house and having a meal and saying, oh my God, I have to have this recipe. We've sort of honed those down, and they're the best of the best recipes. And they've taken years to collect, although we're still getting new ones in every single day. So when you come here, you're going to get those recipes. Let's get started on these slow cooker ribs. Okay, what we're going to start with, we've got a rack of pork ribs, and we prefer baby back ribs, but you can use whatever you like. So I've cut them into sections because they are going to go in the slow cooker. So we've sectioned them off so they'll fit, and what we're going to do first is we're going to just cover them, and this is going to be both sides. We're going to do salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder.
Now I want to say something, Sarah. I heard you mention about the garlic powder. It's important where it's from.
Yes, I just sent you to the store to get more garlic powder because we go through lots of garlic powder in this house. I just wanted to mention that when you're buying garlic powder, always look for organic or California. If you don't, and you get the stuff that's on sale in the big, huge jars, it might taste okay, but 9 times out of 10, it comes from China, and it's not always the best choice. You want to make sure you know what you're getting, so opt for California garlic powder or organic. Okay, so we've dusted the ribs with salt, pepper, and I really didn't do enough of that, so we want to do a little bit more pepper and some more salt, and then we're just going to pat brown sugar on these. And I'm not measuring any of this stuff, but we'll just do one, and then we're going to turn it over, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to give it some salt, and you know what, you can always add more. I always like to be kind of easy. I'm easy with the salt, not so easy with the garlic powder. And we're just going to cover this. And a lot of it's going to fall off. Okay, so we've got both sides of this that have been dusted with garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and I've pressed on some brown sugar. And we're going to do this to all 4 pieces, or however many you have. And then we're going to lay those in the crock pot. We've got these all covered with salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and brown sugar. We've got that on both sides, and we're laying them in the bottom of the crock pot, which is set on low. Actually, just for good measure, I'm going to dump the rest of the sugar in there. And then we are going to cover that with a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, a third a cup of soy sauce, and 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke. We're going to cover it, and we're going to forget about it for the next 6 hours. We just put our ribs in the crock pot, and since we have some time to kill, we're going to make some homemade barbecue sauce to go with those ribs. And this is a Carolina honey sauce, which means it's going to be sweet and tangy and have a little bit of heat to it. I'm going to start out with just a small amount of heat, and you can add pepper flakes, or you can certainly increase that if you've got a stronger taste bud. So right now we're starting with 1 cup of ketchup in the bottom of a medium saucepan. And we are going to add to that 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. So we just kind of want to mix this up. And then we're going to add to this. This is combined 1/2 cup molasses and 1/2 cup honey. That's going to give it that sweetness. The molasses is going to give it a little bit more depth of flavor. And then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. We've got this over a medium-high heat. What we're going to be doing is bringing this up to a slow boil. And we just have a teaspoon of liquid smoke. And a quarter teaspoon of, I'm using sriracha, but you can use the hot sauce of your choice. Either Tabasco or sriracha or any other hot sauce that you like. And again, if you'd like to make it a little hotter, you can add red pepper flakes. That'll give it a boost. So we've brought this to a boil, and we're just going to let it go to a full rolling boil. And you can see it's still kind of thin. So we're going to lower the temperature and simmer it uncovered for about 30 minutes, and it'll thicken up. It's not going to get super, super thick, but it'll thicken up a lot more than it is now. And this is a very easy recipe to do, and I think one of the beauties of doing this recipe instead of buying bottled barbecue sauce is you saw exactly what went in here. There's not a lot of garbage, there's not a lot of high fructose corn syrup or artificial flavors, and you really have control over how hot it gets, how spicy you make it. So that's one of my favorite reasons for making homemade barbecue sauce. And we're just going to let that simmer. So we've gotten the ribs out of the crock pot. They're done, and I have been covering them with the barbecue sauce that's had a chance to cool. And you can see as it cooled, it thickened up quite a bit. So what we're doing is we're going to cover each side very, very liberally with the barbecue sauce. And then our part is done because they're going to go outside to the grill with David.
And you're doing it on both sides, right?
I'm covering it on both sides. Another thing I should have mentioned is that these cooked on low in my crock pot for 6 hours. You might want to check them depending, everybody's temperature is different, everything operates, we're up at a very, very high elevation. So you might want to check in about 5 hours and just make sure that they're not overdone or completely falling apart.